All right, let's talk about something that's, well, absolutely critical in our digital world: the privacy of our healthcare data. I mean, with everything moving online, how can we be sure our most sensitive information is actually staying secure? Today, we're going to break down how one powerful technology, workflow automation, is becoming the new frontline defense. So, I want to start with a number that should honestly stop you in your tracks: 276 million. Get this, that's how many US patient records were breached in 2024 alone. It's the highest number we have ever seen, and it just screams that there's a massive vulnerability in the system. And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Because every single one of those 276 million records, that's a person. That's their medical history, their private details out in the open. For the hospitals, it's a gut punch to their reputation and a huge compliance nightmare. So the bottom line is, this isn't just some abstract data problem, it's a very, very human one. So what's really going on here? Why has our healthcare data become such a massive target all of a sudden? Let's dig into the core issues that are really driving this whole crisis.
What's so interesting here is how these four things are all connected, feeding into each other. You've got this massive explosion of data from all our new tech, which of course creates way more targets for cyber threats. Then, the big push for digital transformation makes everything interconnected and vulnerable, and all the while you've got stricter regulations raising the stakes if anything goes wrong. It's a perfect storm.
And let's just double click on that data explosion for a second. Think about it. You've got electronic health records, data streaming from your smartwatch, telehealth appointments, AI diagnostics, the list goes on. Now, all of this stuff is amazing for patient care, right? But it also dramatically expands what we call the attack surface. Basically, it just gives attackers a whole lot more doors to try and kick down. Okay, so with a problem this huge, the solution has got to be pretty innovative. And that brings us right to the heart of our explainer today: workflow automation. What exactly is it, and how on earth can it fight back against a crisis this big? To put it really simply, workflow automation is all about using technology to take over those repetitive, manual jobs that people used to do. But this isn't just about being faster. It's about creating processes that are super consistent, reliable, and, most important for what we're talking about, secure right from the start. Here's a pretty good way to picture it. A manual process? That's kind of like a small workshop where everything's done by hand. It's totally vulnerable to human error, inconsistencies, and security gaps. But an automated workflow, that's like a high-tech robotic assembly line. Every single step is precise, it's monitored, it's consistent, and it's secure. You're basically taking the risk of human error out of the equation at some really critical points. Okay, so we get what it is, but how does this digital assembly line actually go about protecting our data? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of how this technology really becomes a digital bodyguard for our private information. It really boils down to these four pillars. First up is process mapping. That just means you identify every single place the data is touched and find all the potential weak spots. Then you automate the tasks, which cuts down on how many people have to manually handle sensitive info. Next, you focus on secure integration, making sure all your different systems can talk to each other without opening up new backdoors. And finally, you set up smart role-based alerts, so only the right people get notified, which minimizes any unnecessary exposure. And hey, this isn't just theory. Look at these real-world examples. Instead of a clerk manually punching your information into a computer, an automated system does it with built-in validation checks. When a lab result comes in, it automatically and securely updates your health record without passing through a half dozen hands. Every single automated step slices away a little bit of risk. All right, so let's zoom out a bit and see how all this builds into a real security plan. There are three core strategies that really make workflow automation a total game changer for data privacy. The first one, and honestly, it's probably the most fundamental, is something called role-based access controls, or RBAC for short. The whole idea is incredibly simple. You only get to see what you absolutely need to see to do your job. Nothing more, nothing less.
So what's crucial here is this idea of segmentation. A doctor? Yeah, they need to see your entire medical history to make a good diagnosis. But the person in the billing department, they only need to see your payment details. RBAC automatically enforces these permissions, making sure data isn't just floating around internally, which, believe me, is a massive source of risk.
Next up, we've got a term you've probably heard a million times, but it is absolutely vital: end-to-end data encryption. This is all about scrambling data so it's completely unreadable to anyone who isn't supposed to see it, no matter where it is. I want you to think of encryption as a digital armored truck. It protects your data in transit. That's when it's driving down the highway from a lab to your doctor's office. And it protects it at rest. That's when the truck is parked in a secure vault, like on a server somewhere. Modern systems use military-grade standards like AES 256. So even if a hacker breaks into the vault, all they get is a locked steel box. And the final piece of this security puzzle is all about accountability. I mean, how do you really know who's looking at what data and why? Well, that's where automated audit trails come into play. Think of this as the ultimate digital footprint. Every single action, every time someone views a file, edits it, or sends it, is logged automatically. Who, what, when, and why. This is so powerful for two big reasons. First, it helps you spot weird behavior in real time, like someone trying to download hundreds of records at 3 a.m. And second, it's absolutely essential for proving you're compliant with big regulations like HIPAA. It is the ultimate accountability tool. Now, as incredible as all this technology is, let's be real. It's not a magic wand. Trying to implement automation in a super complex world like healthcare comes with its own set of very real challenges. You know, a lot of hospitals are still running on these ancient, clunky systems that are a nightmare to integrate with new tech. There's always that tension between making things go faster and keeping them secure. And even with the best automation in the world, you still have to plan for human error. On top of all that, the rules of the game are always changing, with new regulations coming down the pipeline. And all of this leaves us with one final crucial question. Look, the push to make healthcare faster and more efficient is never going to stop. But what automation shows us is that speed doesn't have to be the enemy of security. By building privacy directly into our digital workflows from the ground up, we actually have a real shot at creating a future where healthcare isn't just faster, but fundamentally safer for every single one of us.